Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Day 2 of the week. We got some legs today. You know what I'm feeling today? Anger. I feel a bit of fire in my belly today that I'm looking forward to getting out on these hack squats. You know what's good for anger? Hack squats. Because you get 6 reps in to a 8 rep set of a hard hack squat set, and that anger goes missing because it's actually a pussy. And you can't rely on it when you need it the most. So yeah, you get under that and you just start crying at rep 6 and go, where are you, anger, now, you fucking piece of shit. Anyway, bit angry, got a bit of fire in the belly, don't know why. I've been sleeping well, been doing all good things, but just, yeah, I must just be a moody bastard. Imagine being, a person around me in my life. Actually, I kind of see myself in my daughter sometimes when she's, happy, and then, I sometimes see that in me. Anyway, if you tuned in to get a emotional confession from me, there it is. If you tuned in for some resistance training, hypertrophy, weight training type content, that's what is actually mostly going to be on this video today. So you're in luck. So lower body, we're hack squatting first. Hack squats went well last week. They are getting me terribly sore, barely able to recover in a couple of days' time for my next lower body session. So we're not adding more volume or anything like that. We do a couple of sets of, 3 sets of hack squats, 2 sets of a kind of glute-biased leg press, and that seems to be bollocksing me. As our friends from the UK would say, bollocks. I like that word. Hack squats, a leg press, trying to make it a glute dominant leg press. Then we go hamstring curls and, other stuff after that, leg extension and some of the accessory stuff at the end. And the goal is actually to get through this lower body workout. Last week's final lower body workout of the week just absolutely capitulated into a puddle of shit. Crumbled, some might say. So if I can get through today's workout, that'll be a win. And let's do it. Let's not beat around it anymore. Let's use this anger while it's fresh. And then let's squish it immediately on the hack squat. Piece of shit anger. Let's go. All right, we're in the warm-up process for the hack squat. So prior to hack squatting, I'll check my log from last week. And I know now what weight I have to hit, or I'm trying to hit. And yeah, what reps I accomplished and all that kind of stuff. Just checking with that last time so we kind of know what weight we're building up to. We know what the warm-up process is going to look like and what jumps we're going to make to get up to that weight. So hack squat, we're kind of trying to lean this as much towards the quads as possible. So I usually set the feet pretty low on the platform. Toes are out for me. My feet are pretty narrow because it allows for it when doing a hack squat, and that's always felt pretty comfortable for me. So it's pretty close to underneath my hips. Toes out, low on the platform. So probably keeping them quite low on the platform, but not so low that your heels will peel off the ground as you squat. I've got these yoga blocks in place because I've got short legs, it would appear, and I'm not allowed a full range of motion without adding these in. So we're here, control the way down, feel the quads stretch out, drive up. So I'll take, the first set's going to be a heavy set, 6 to 8 reps. I'll take a couple of jumps from here to kind of get up to that, and I'll even take 1 rep pretty close to that. They call that, what do they call that? Potentiation set, just so I can feel the heavy weight that I will be close to lifting. And so I'm ready to lift heavy weight. What else I got for you? Nah, let's go. Let's go deep here. Deep as in dig deep within ourselves, push hard, be willing to kind of feel the pain and then push through with good technique. Let's go. Right. Come on. Come on. Come on. Fucking pussy. Come on. All right, hack squat done. Not too bad, pretty brutal. I don't feel angry anymore. So it's nice, squished my anger. My anger went running after a couple of reps of the heavy hack squat. Anyway, so now we move on to a leg press, and we're going to try and bias the leg press, this leg press variation, towards the glutes. And I figure side on would be the best opportunity for you to see that. So when it comes to a standard leg press, I'd have, oh sorry, not a standard leg press, a leg press where I'm trying to get my quads to work really hard. I'd get a low foot position. I'd try and get a lot of knee flexion, just like we did on that hack squat, for a lot of quad stretch. And then, you know, feel the quads a lot. For this, I'm trying to bias it more towards my glutes. So it means a higher foot position. And what you'll see in a second here is that higher foot position therefore leads to less knee flexion and plenty of hip flexion. Hip flexion being my knees kind of getting to the level of my chest. Now, the logic runs like this. If I get lots of quad flexion, no, let's start again. If I get lots of hip flexion, I'll get plenty of glute stretch, and therefore hopefully some good glute activation and glute stimulus. But then I'll limit the quad stretch to about 90 degrees, it kind of looks like it's getting to limit my quads work. Now, when I get to the end of these sets, I do feel my quads plenty. So there's no getting around using the quads, and I don't mind that too much. I don't really have a massive want to grow my glutes too much more. They're pretty good. Oh, I'm pretty happy with them how they are. So to get extra quad work for me, in my mind, not a bad thing. But again, getting some glutes there as well. to make sure we don't lose that dump truck. Is it still called a dump truck? Okay, let's build up our weight and stay in the zone. Okay, moving into some hamstring volume next. So I've got the seated hamstring curl on this day. So as far as, gotta push myself back a little bit. As far as this day goes, this is more, you can call it a quad dominant day, but it definitely starts off with the heavy quad movements, and then I've got this as a little bit of hamstring volume. The other day starts off with the heavy posterior chain movement as a stiff legged deadlift, and then I've got a couple of quads, well, only one quad thing on that day as well. So it's kind of like an emphasis for one day, but not completely ignoring the opposite. So we still get a little bit of work in. Now, seated hamstring curls don't have too much to be said for them. Seated's good because we're in this nice stretch position before the exercise even starts, as if you're doing like a sit and reach. Use the hamstrings to kind of pull your lower leg towards your upper leg or butt. Control the way up and stretch, pull down. Now, one thing you will see me do at the end of this set, the resistance curve and the strength curve surrounding this is such that you're much stronger in the stretch position. So what I'll do at the end of the set, when I can't get the thing to all the way to the end anymore, I'll do some half reps. That'll just take me a little bit closer to failure even though I can't get it all the way to the end. So I can still get a couple extra reps in without getting all the way to the end, and get that little bit of extra stimulus in. Works for this one, works for a couple of upper movements as well. All right, let's go. Yes! Alright, last bit of quad work, is that? Yeah. 2 sets of leg extension. So leg extension being a machine that is probably better suited to train the rectus femoris, which is one of the quadricep muscle that passes the knee as well as the other quadricep muscle, but also passes the hip. So when doing this, we're going to essentially aim for as much knee flexion as possible, which is why I've got these yoga blocks here to push my foot this way. But also I've got this backrest set back a fair distance, so I'm leaning all the way back. So that's going to open the hip up because the rectus femoris is in that passing the hip kind of area, as well as some of the hip flexor muscles. So we can stretch it out by leaning back. We're also going to stretch the quad out from the other end by cranking this all the way. Now, this comparably to squats, leg presses, compound movements, the issue with the compound movements and training the rectus femoris is that at one joint, it's doing one job of the rectus femoris, and at the other joint, it's doing the opposite job. So you think about if we're descending into the squat, at the knee, we're stretching the quad, but we are flexing the hip. So it's kind of opposing. So we're kind of stretching the quad out this way, and then sort of lengthening it out on this sort of side. Lengthening, shortening. So we're stretching it here and shortening it here. So essentially, it's kind of, instead of the muscle being stretched like that, you think about muscle fibers are kind of running like that and intertwining and pulling. At this one, it's stretching, and this one's almost just following it and shortening at the same time. So we don't quite get
a good contraction through the rectus femoris, because at one joint, it's doing one job. Anyway, I'm banging on now. So essentially, we do leg extension because it helps with the rectus femoris. We want to open hip. We don't want to be doing, knee flexion while we're hip extending. We want to kind of have that open hip and then extend the knee from that position there. So I've got the yoga box in play. The yoga blocks are going to push my ankle further back that way, stretching out my quad a little bit more. I lean back to open the hip up as well. Extending up pretty aggressively, controlling the way down. Extending up, controlling the way down. So with all that blah blah throughout there, essentially we are using this movement to train the rectus femoris, one of the quadricep muscle that doesn't get worked as well on those other exercises. Let's leave it at that next time. We're fucking bang on for 45 minutes. All right, we got 2 sets here. Let's go. Okay, we got some adduction work here. So this is some stuff that in my whole training career, I've only relatively started doing it recently, maybe 3-4 weeks. And it was always just kind of like a isolated thing that I didn't really care for, but I think there may be potential there in working the adductors as my quads get a lot of work. My adductors, they get work, here and there through the other movements, but not in as the target or the isolation or the main worker. And I think there might be something missing right here in my inner thigh. So I figure, let's get some adduction work in. That's how the logic went, and now here we are. I'm pretty weak at it, so maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it will be helpful for other movements that are maybe let down. So my anatomy surrounding the adductors is not awesome, but I believe in part, I'm going to get to a point here in a second, in part their job is hip flexion, so they'll help with that. So they're kind of, if you can see over here, they'll kind of be in the inner thigh, but they also help with hip flexion, so helping with that. So it would make sense to stretch them out just like we do with a lot of the other movements, that we want to lean back, okay? So if anyone knows anatomy, biomechanics better than me, jump on and tell me, nah, that's actually not necessary, and I'll be happy to concede there because my knowledge is not great. But anyway, my brief knowledge of it is it's going to help with hip flexion and obviously adduction, pulling the knees towards one another. So I'm going to go into hip extension and abduction, and then that gives me the best opportunity to have that muscle nice and stretched out. Drive them in, stretch, drive them in. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm doing this 2 days per week, both lower body days, 2 sets. And I am also just changing the rep range a smidge on each day, just for a little bit of variation. So on this day, heavier, 5 to 10 reps. On the other day, lighter or moderate, 10 to 15. Okay, let's do a couple of sets here. Calves and abs, forget about it. Yes. All right, leg press calf raise next. So, get to this stage of the workout. I'm just trying to get this shit in without having to do too much of like adjusting machines and stuff like that because I'm about done. So even though there are some reasons I don't like this machine, it's nice and easy. I'm going to do this superset with some abdominal crunch, which might be 5 meters away over there. So I can do these two really easily. Any other calf exercise is about, I don't know, 20 meters away. So I figure Save some time, it's still good, it feels effective, so that's good enough for me. It's pin loaded, so I don't have to get any weight plates out, blah, blah, blah. The one downside to this particular variation of it is that you've got this part of the leg press here, which can kind of limit range of motion. But what I do to counteract that is I get my foot on the outside, and now in that position, I can still get a good range of motion. So nice stretch, raise up onto the toes, bada bing, bada boom. Good range of motion, so I get a good stretch through the calf up here, underneath here, raise all the way into the toes. Just can't have anything narrower than that because it would just run into this part of the leg press. I could do Smith machine, I could do the other 45-degree leg press, I could do all that shit. But again, I don't really want to add weight to that. And I want to superset this with my ab exercise, which is just over here. So there's my rationale there. I'll show you this abdominal crunch. Here is the second half of this superset. This is a pretty standard abdominal crunch. You see these pretty much everywhere. And this one is okay. It is good enough. I feel like it works really well as far as stimulus goes. There is a limitation in range of motion. I feel like it doesn't allow you to go too far back, but I feel it pretty significantly in my abs. And as I mentioned with the calf raise, I'm about done fucking around with shit or adjusting anything. So I'm trying to get this done as painlessly as possible, right? So one of the tips that I have, that is making sure I put my head all the way back here, so I'm not just jamming my head forward. The motion is driven by my abs, right? So I want to take the bottom of my sternum down towards my pelvis. I just don't want to move my head forward and back. So I place it on the pad so I can avoid that. Drive that sternum down. Drive it down, open up, drive it down, big crunch, drive it down. So, good enough for me. 4 sets here, 1, 2, 3, 4 of each, just walking back and forth basically. They don't affect each other too much, and we save a little bit of time here towards the end of the workout because I am connected. All right, let's get after it. All right, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. A battle, if there ever was one. So, yeah, I mean, I increased weight on the hack squat, so that's good, but a rep less than last time out. So, goal will be to get that back up. So, that I use something called a double progression method. So I set essentially a rep range. So for set 1 of my hack squat, 6 to 8 reps, right? Now, if I can get 8, the next week I add some weight. If I can't get 8, then let's say I get 6, 7, whatever it might be, I try and go for reps. So there's always an effort for progression, be it weight or reps. And you have the flexibility to go, oh, well, you know, I don't think I can do a heavier weight, but I could probably do an extra rep or 2. You kind of have that flexibility. And whether you progress reps, weight, you know, whatever it might be, it's sometimes volume. Like it's not, you know, one has to be, the one that you do. Over the course of time, you probably should see the weights go up that you lift. But again, that is, all the way into the future. You don't have to add 5 kgs every single time. It can be a rep or 2 and then go up in weight, and then add a rep or 2 the next time and then go up in weight. And over the course of time, you will see those weights go up. But as long as we're pushing for progression and we are progressing, that's a good sign. If you're not progressing at all, not necessarily all the time, week to week, if you're an intermediate and advanced person, sometimes it's a grind. But
you know, if you are never progressing and you look over your log over 3 months and you go, oh, this hasn't gone up, it's like, well, maybe something's got to change there. And that's the good thing about tracking everything. So all in all, happy with that one. Happy we grounded out a couple of good things, a couple of tough things. My anger, gone. About 4 reps into that hack squat, it went missing really quickly. So emotionally, I feel much better already. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing about training sometimes. All right, that'll do us. Tune in tomorrow. We've got a pull workout. Get that back jacked. I want to be feeling like I'm walking around like this, which is a nice feeling. So, all right, as always, guys, hit the little me up here. Helps. It does the subscription thing, and it's helpful for the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. And then you've got the playlist up here if you want to watch other content. Always trying to be instructive, educational, and helping you guys to kind of get the most out of your workouts and achieve your goals. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.